Are you feeling lazy or bored or unmotivated? I want to share my 3 Ps with you. This is a process that's really going to help. So whatever it is you're trying to do, maybe you've got a project that you've already begun and you're beginning to feel a little bit bored by it, or you're not having the same levels of motivation you had when the idea first came to you. Or it might be that you're trying to start something, you're trying to start a novel, you're trying to start a new career trajectory, or you want to get into a better place with your life, but you're just feeling so lazy. All of this can be really disheartening, and it can give us a sense of it's just not possible. So the first P to remember is that it's not personal, okay? If we're struggling with I'm lazy, or I'm bored, or I'm unmotivated, or I'm the kind of person that finds it hard to get motivated, or I'm the kind of person that gets bored easily, then we are the thing that we don't want. And that's when it can really get a hold of us. If we think we're lazy, then we're struggling with that. And chances are we're going to get exhausted struggling with that, and then we are going to feel lazy. So the first thing to remember is it's not personal. The laziness or the boredom or the motivation is not an indication of who you are, or it's not an indication that you're lacking in something. It's just something that's come, and you can also let it pass you by. So how do we do that? We go from reminding ourselves, okay, it's not personal, I'm not a lazy person, I'm not the kind of person who gets bored, but how do we then allow it to pass us by? So the second area, the second P, is perspective. So you're feeling the laziness, you're lacking in the motivation, you're reminding yourself, okay, it's not personal. Then you jump to perspective. So here's where you start to think about the times that you did feel motivated, the times that you did feel full of energy, the times that you felt so intrigued by what you were doing, you would go to sleep excited about waking up the following day so that you could just get back on with your work. So that perspective is going to flip your brain, and you're no longer going to be focusing on the current feelings of laziness or boredom or lack of motivation, but you're going to start to remember those wonderful times, those times that you were really caught up in a project, those times that you were feeling really activated. And the more you're focusing on that, the more you shift your perspective into that area. When you're imagining those things, your body is going to start to react in a different way, and you're going to start to feel better. So that's the second P, perspective. Start to think about times that you felt energized, times that you felt motivated, and times that you felt really inspired by the work that you were doing. The third P is practice. And so I want to say something really specific about practice here. Practice is best done off the battlefield, okay? So if you imagine the first time you ever learnt anything, and then you imagine being dumped in the middle of a battlefield and having to do that thing for the second time after you had just been shown it, it would be pretty impossible, right? There'd be people running around you screaming, people getting shot, people stabbing each other, and here you are, you've just learnt this thing and you're trying to practice it. You're going to be in a frenzy, you're not going to be able to do it. So what I'm saying here is you want to practice these techniques when you're not feeling lazy or bored or unmotivated. Now that might seem strange. You're like, well, how can I practice if I'm not feeling those things? So the way that you practice is to constantly remind yourself of who you are. So if the lazy or the bored or the unmotivation isn't personal, what you're going to be practicing is reminding yourself who you really are. And you can even go one step further and just keep talking to yourself about who you want to be. Like, not just reminding yourself of, oh, I'm someone who can stay energized, but like, that's what I really want. I'm aspiring to be like fully energized or fully motivated. And then the second area of practice is that perspective. So take time, even when you don't have to, i.e. even when you're not feeling lazy, take time to dwell on the good moments of motivation, on the good moments of energy. So you're practicing that shift in perspective off the battlefield. And that means that when you find yourself in that crunch moment, when you find yourself in that moment when your energy is like, and you're like lazy, you're going to have the practice already in you, and it's going to instinctively start to happen. So you're going to be on the battlefield, it's going to be crazy going on around you, but you're like, I've got this down because I've been practicing this. So those are my 3 Ps. If you're feeling lazy or bored or unmotivated, firstly, it's not personal. It's not who you are. It's something that's just come in, and then you let it go by shifting that perspective, by thinking of the good stuff. And then the final P, practice, but practice when you're not on the battlefield. So there we go, 3 Ps to really combat this lethargic, unmotivated state that's going to really help you either get started on a creative project or see that project through and actually finish something. Because unless we finish that project, we don't get to take the next step. And if we don't get to take the next step, we don't get to achieve that creative potential that is what I'm doing on this channel. So if you're new here, if you're not sure what this channel is about, this channel is all for creativity. It's here enabling you to step into that creative potential. Whether you're a freelancer, a writer, an artist, all of the content here is going to enable you to start seeing things differently and really achieve those creative goals. And if you want more and you want to come and join my community on Facebook, there's a link below this video. I'd love to have you there. And I will see you on the sofa next Monday. Keep practicing till then.